What have you seen from Daniel so far? How much is he doing? What have you kind of?
He's doing individual routes on air and 7-on-7.
How's he looking in those?
He looks good. Yeah, I mean, we're not putting him in some team stuff, but he's making progress. So that's why we got him in 7-on-7.
Any doubt at this point that, I mean, he's always said the goal has been be ready for the start of training camp. That's still for you guys?
Yeah, we'll take it day by day, and when he can do more, we'll put him in more.
How has Drew looked in the 11-on-11 periods?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's spring ball. We've talked about this, I think, the last 2 years. This is really a teaching camp. He's done a good job of picking up the information. So just try to get better each day.
At this level, do you still find yourself having to teach guys how to prepare, or is that something that you expect?
Prepare? No, they're pros. I mean, you better prepare in this league. So they work hard. The rookies are learning. We have a plan for the rookies in terms of the amount of reps that they take in each period, just kind of building those guys up. But again, we've had, I'd say, productive 3 phases up to this point.
Are you planning to get Daniel into any 11-on-11 by minicamp, or?
Yeah, I think we'll just take it day by day and see where he's at. He's doing a nice job in the 7-on-7. He'll do that again today. So we'll see how it goes.
Seems like he's been rolling out and moving pretty well as well.
Yeah, he moves. His movement skills have been good. Again, it's not a contact camp. We all know that. So we try to eliminate as much as that we can. But that'll be the next step of being involved in the pocket and things like that. When that is, Pat, I'm not sure.
Brian, is there more? I mean, obviously nothing is contact. Is there more risk, quote unquote, in 11-on-11 than there is in 7-on-7 because there's just more bodies in front of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that the reason to start him on 7-on-7 and then?
Well, that's just part of the plan where we're at with the rehab plan, and I think the trainers have done a good job. DJ's done a good job of rehabbing, and right now we're at 7-on-7.
Dave, for the players who have played in this defense now adjusting, how big adjustment is it for them, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's what these are. That's what's so important about. They're all voluntary, but it's important for those guys to hear the call. The meeting time, being able to take it from the classroom to the field. They've done a good job. That's why these are so important, particularly when you can get out now and line up against a formation or something like that. But work in progress.
How have the rookies been integrating in with the veterans?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're obviously behind mentally. We're trying to catch them up physically. I think Wellman has done a good job with the plan that he's kind of set in place along with the training staff of how many reps we give them each period. We're trying to build them up. We don't want to take any setbacks physically, but try to throw as much as you can on them mentally, which is different from the rookie camp. So they're getting a lot of information right now.
Coach Patterson said that he's working with some of the edge guys this year, which is a change. How did that come about, and what do you like about that?
Well, he's a good coach. I think him and Chuck do a good job bowling. They work together. There's 4-man rush patterns, games, things like that they do a good job of working together. Him and Chuck, and B. Cox, and Ben.
Have you changed anything with your approach to the offensive line in OTAs and going into training camp? And how has Carm's philosophy kind of meshed with the guys that you have now?
Yeah, I think Carm and James are doing a really good job. Again, this is a teaching camp here. There's no roster spots that are going to be made based on what they do here. This is more learning how we're doing it, the communication aspect of it. But as a whole, they've done a good job in the meeting room, out on the practice field, working well together. So try to build off that.
Is this a time of year where you want to see guys in different spots? Do you get to a point where you want to see kind of you guys develop into, okay, this is our left guard, this is our right guard?
Sure. Yeah, it's May right now, so we're trying to teach as many players different techniques. One time they might be guard, one time they might be tackle. You never know what you're going to need. We'll get to the depth chart and all that much further down the road.
Where are you starting Runyon and Illuminor though?
They're playing guards today.
Do you have a specific side where you start John on, or at least say, hey, okay, we'll kind of move from there?
Yeah, today John is playing right guard, which he's primarily played so far up to this point. Illuminor's playing left guard.
Would you I think to Art's question, would you rather be in a position in August where you're not rotating guys in and out and you have a set 5?
Yeah, I think we'll take it as it comes. So, we got a long time between now and August, and once we go through, training camp, we get through this phase 3. We'll teach them the stuff that we're doing. There's obviously certain changes we're doing. They'll have a chance with pads on to compete, and then, when we figure out what we think is the right 5 combination, whenever that is, that's when it is.
Brian,
Whether it's in the beginning of August and however that sorts out.
Do you have, are you expected to do joint practices again this summer?
Yeah, we are. Yep.
I guess the Lions to come here?
Yeah, we're going to practice against Detroit, and I'd say most likely we're going to practice one day against the Jets. Yeah, at their place.
And the Lions will obviously be
It will. Yep.
That's set days. That's.
It's pretty much. It's close to it. I would anticipate it unless something falls through.
Okay.
Are Darius Slayton and Darren Waller here?
They are not. No.
With Waller, June 1st has implications cap-wise, if he makes a decision not to come back or whatever. Do you have a preference? If you'd rather have a decision before or after June 1st?
Yeah, I would just say the same thing I've said, last month. Let Darren take, what he needs to take, and, once the decision's made, we'll go from there.
But you don't get to a point where you guys just cut him because you're just going to give him as much time as he needs?
Yeah, well, we'll we have conversations, obviously, but, when Darren makes his decision, that's what we'll go with.
Darius, do you get involved in those talks, or do you leave that just totally to Joe?
Yeah, no, I've spoken to Slay. So, again, this is voluntary. So, who wants to be here, great. If there's anyone that doesn't want to be here, that's their choice. That's why it's voluntary.
What are those conversations been like?
They've been fine.
Do you have optimism in either of their situations that it'll be resolved in them returning to the team?
I'd say whenever they decide, they decide. Darius is obviously under contract, so again, whenever it comes up, we'll deal with it then.
What's the plan with that Isaiah Simmons? He's a very versatile guy. We've seen him in a lot of different spots. What do you kind of envision for him in this new defense?
Yeah, early. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
You obviously did a lot of work on Brian Burns before you made the trade, but what have you learned about him since he got here, particularly from a football IQ standpoint?
Well, first I'd say he's a great teammate. Practices the way you want a pro to practice, particularly a player of his type caliber. I think he's done a good job with the outside linebackers in his room of being a good mentor. But I think there's he leads by example, but he'll also speak up if he needs to speak up. He's been he's been a really good addition to our football team up to this point. Glad we have him. Whether it's on defense, whether it's talking to guys on offense, the offensive line about certain things. Good person and a good player.
How do you know he's a good teammate right away?
Well, you just see him interact with, see him interact with the players. You see how he handles himself on the practice field with the group that he's with. He talks a lot to Kayvon. He has some experience. He's still a young player too, but a true pro.
What's it been like having the Hard Knocks crews around during the off season?
Yeah, I'd say there's more cameras in Joe's office. So, but it's been good. They're good people. Kind of winding down here, so, but it's been fun.
How much access have you provided? Because mostly Joe, I'm saying you had to open up.
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. So there's cameras everywhere. So I don't know.
Couple more. You've talked in the past about how you kind of like to keep things pretty close to the vest. Were you apprehensive at all with cameras being around in the off season?
No, you almost forget about it. They're kind of situated in a bunch of different rooms, but business is business.
How is Neighbors taken now? I mean, I know he was away end of last week and coming back here. How is he acclimated to what you guys are trying to do team-wise? Yeah,
I'd put him kind of in a group with all the rookies. There's a lot of information to learn, Art. You know that. He works really hard. There's a couple different positions that he has to move around and learn, but that's why we drafted him. So, good young pro, works really hard at it, spends a lot of extra time with Bro when he can. It's kind of like Jalen did last year and Wandell did the year before. So it's been nice.
Do you see Evan Neal exclusively taking right tackle reps when he's out there, or do you see him moving around more this year?
Yeah, we'll start him at right tackle.